So you will be celebrating the film Superman 2, now nearly 45 years old.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for that memory.
Yes, you're
I,
welcome. I'm suffering through the same angst. So,
yeah.
what has been your impression of the whole superhero genre since you were an acting pioneer in that story, and then had more roles in the universe as the whole thing evolved?
Um, well, first and foremost, I'm very grateful to it. I am eternally grateful to the fans because there is an enormous sort of sci-fi fantasy fan base. Um, if you don't mind me sharing with you, I don't really see those movies, you see. So
Okay.
I'm not a major sci-fi fantasy sort of a fan. And I know that I disappoint quite a few people because they come to me with these questions and I just go blank if I can even remember doing it. Especially when we're talking about black holes and things like that.
And the Phantom Zone and all that, right?
Yeah, and the Phantom. No, Superman was. I mean, you mentioned earlier on 40, whatever it is. I mean, I was 27 or something when I started on that. The fact that I've got I'm going off to Chicago. I'm going off to do this thing at wherever it's called. But what's it called?
Batavia.
Batavia, yes.
Imagine theaters.
But I mean, I haven't seen it on a big screen. I saw it on a big screen for the premiere in Leicester Square, which was back in 1980, 81, whenever that was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was a big screen as you and I remember them. This is, I'm told, amazing. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch the movie. I'm going to eat popcorn. I'm going to meet the fans, which is, to me, really and truly what it's all about. I mean, we are talking about a lot of guys, predominantly men, but there are a few women, but of a certain age, who will want to share with me what they were thinking when they saw Ursa the first time, and I have to sort of remain, or what they were doing when they saw it. I tell you, it's quite extraordinary, Patrick. I mean, but I'm hoping that but this event that Imagine Theatre are putting on, that there will be parents that bring their kids for the first time, or dads, that I get to meet a new generation, because as wonderful as all the other Supermans are, and of course I'm going to say that because I'm very polite, you can't, our villains, it was extraordinary.
Yeah.
We didn't have, what was the one that, I'm trying to think what it was, I wrote it down. Oh yes, Man of Steel, where they had, they all had guns and this and that. We had nothing. We just, I was there in my organza, Terry, Jack and I, the three villains, with our thigh-length boots, and our evilness and our wickedness and our power just came from us. Yep. And I look at it now and I think it was pretty damn good, considering.
It's the best. It's the best.
It really is. And so it is, yeah. So I'm thrilled to be seeing it on a big screen. I mean, I'm a bit scared to see it on a big screen because but luckily, nowadays, as we know, we have all sorts of ways of making ourselves look better because we need it. But that back then, I was a fresh face thing, and I'm going to sit, and it's not like looking at me because I was wearing a wig, I had that white makeup on. I had the eyebrows stuck up. I was perpetually in a pissy mood because I had got up so early and I'd had to wear a wig, and I've got thigh-length boots, and I want to go to the bathroom and I can't because I'm up in the air. It was fun.
So the legendary Richard Lester was your on-the-ground director. What did you learn about being in a movie under Lester's guidance?
I think we must firstly give full credit to Richard Donner.
Yeah.
Because that is, really and truly his vision was what we were all caught up with. Because don't forget, I shot how much of this film, and this is where the fans will tell you, I shot an awful lot of it with Richard Donner first.
Okay.
And then we reshot it with Richard Lester. So for a young actress like me to be able to work with somebody like Donner, who was very relaxed, Californian, blue tinted glasses. His hair was just a little bit too long for me. I thought he should. And we were in England, of course, and he was very laid back and wonderful. Of course he was. But then we shot it, excuse me. Then we came back to reshoot with Richard Lester. Richard Lester was very different. For me, it worked very well because he told me what I was to do, and he told me I would do it. And I was too scared to say, oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can do that. Or really, I've got to jump off that windowsill and do this. I've got to throw. Richard Donner was much more relaxed about it. And he would say, give it a try. And if you can't do it, if you can't we'll try again until we get it right. So consequently, many days passed while I didn't get it right. But Richard Lester was in there, and this is what you do, and this is how you do it, and it worked for me. Did I get to know Richard Lester? Not really. Okay. Richard Donner, you did, because he came over to it. We were shot in England. He brought all his actors over. Obviously, Terry and I lived in England. Yeah. So they all sort of bonded together because they were all on location, and everybody, it was like a big happy family. When we came back to Richard Lester, poor Richard was up against the rest of the cast, who were pretty upset that there was no longer Richard Donner. Oh, okay. Interesting. Wow. Well, yeah, because suddenly he wasn't there and we had a new director. And so I benefited, if you can say that, because one of the things that happened was Warner Brothers invited me to basically do the world tour. And on Superman 2, I publicized the movie over 9 months. Around the world, everywhere, because dear Margot, who wasn't about to not tell everybody, Christopher certainly was not. They all wanted to talk about the disgracefulness of Richard Donner being let go and all of the politics. I didn't. I just went to work. I went home to the husband. I came back to work the following day, and I wasn't caught up in that because I wasn't on location. I went home. They all sat every night in their houses and hotel rooms and talked about it, and I think were very, very upset. Right. Of course they were. And then, as you can see from the Richard Donner cut, he'd done an awful lot. He'd shot an awful lot of the movie. Sure. I mean, he really had. He had a terrific vision. So it was an experience for me. I'm sure very few actresses have ever managed to do it, to shoot a big budget movie with two completely different directors. Right, named Richard. Yeah, named Richard. Recently, of course, a major documentary about Christopher Reeve was released, and he is remembered as a superhero in his efforts to stay visible and be an advocate for the disabled. Was there any impression you had of Chris when you worked with him that you later saw in him when his life changed so irreversibly? To be honest, until I saw the documentary, I didn't realize that I hadn't really known him. I knew that he was a terrific sportsman. I knew his first partner, Gay. He was dating her. Right. But I didn't get to know him. Whenever I saw him, he was either Superman or he was Clark Kent. It was one or the other. I mean, I never went to his dressing room. I didn't. Right. Whereas I got to know Gene Hackman very well. I went out to dinner with him. We went to I remember he took me and my husband to the first night of Chorus Line. I got to know him well. I got to know Robin Williams very well, who was over at my house all the time because of Christopher, because he was a great friend. But did I get to know Christopher? I didn't realize that I didn't really know him. Then when I saw the movie, the documentary, I mean, it's just so powerful. And the whole wonderful story that goes through it with the love of his family and of his wife, Dana, and the kids. I mean, it is quite extraordinary, that part of his life, because he went back to America after Superman, and that's when the accident happened. And then, aside from sending him what I'm now embarrassed to think is a sort of get well card or whatever I did, I didn't really have communication with him. Right. I've lost him. I'd lost
Yeah.
him. So this was a real eye opener, and it was so wonderful to meet, to meet Will and Alexandra and Matthew, these wonderful kids, and also really to celebrate the family, just that feeling that we all know that you've just got to take every day. You never know what's going to happen next. I mean, have you seen the documentary?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
and you're describing it perfectly.
Yeah. So it was, for me, it was a real experience, and I'm really glad I was able to be there.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2024.